So I thought that I would talk today about how we, in the midst of all of this, in the midst of all of it, how we can protect our peace. Now, why protect our peace? Why that? Because so that we can remain emotionally and physically healthy, so that we can feel empowered and move forward, continuing to help make this world a better place for all of creation, as we say together every week. Last week, Shelley said, every time you feel empowered, you are exercising the divinity within you. Every time you feel empowered, you are exercising the divinity within you. Isn't that beautiful? So one of the greatest ways I know to feel empowered is to protect your peace. Now, I want to clarify something very important here. There is a big difference between inner bliss and inner peace. So often we think they are the same. They are absolutely not. Inner bliss is that moment, we were just talking about this in my class, The Mystical Path, when you have what we call around here a God moment or a divine moment, an aha moment. Do you know what I mean? Like when you feel the divine, when you feel God or spirit or source or whatever word you're comfortable with, in moments you may be on a hike or in nature. You may be looking into the eyes of a baby or your fur baby. We have some here, fur babies. Love them. It may be that moment when you're laughing with a good friend, and time stops. That's a God moment. That's a divine moment. That is inner bliss. It is a blissing. See what I did there? Yeah, okay. So the thing is that inner peace, though, is very different. Inner peace is not a God moment. Inner peace is the rock that is our spiritual sustainment. Inner peace is the rock that is our spiritual sustainment. It is immovable. It is constant. It does not change. If you are looking into the eyes of a baby or the eyes of a, quote, enemy, I'm using air quotes for those of you listening to this, or if you're looking into the eyes of someone you disagree with, the peace that I am talking about today is the peace of God or spirit that lives within you, that part of you, that part within you, as Ernest Holmes taught, that has never been harmed or hurt in any way. That is your holy peace, your spiritual sustainment. This peace cannot be taken away from you. It cannot be diminished. We forget that we have this divine peace at the center of our being, don't we? I know I do sometimes. I want to talk specifically today about this idea of protecting this particular peace. We protect the things we love, don't we? We protect the things we care about. We protect the things we need. And so today, on this day, January 19th, in the year of our dear Lord 2024, we are on the precipice, the day before, to be exact, of some very big changes in this country that are about to happen with this new administration coming in tomorrow, and it will require us to protect our holy peace at the center of our being. Are you with me? Yes. Because we live in an era where everyday human beings, such as all of us, we live in this world of social media. Social media tries to take our peace. Society tries to take our peace. Family challenges, difficulty, squabbles try to take our peace. Worries about our loved ones, our children, our parents, our neighbors try to take our peace. Concern about the health of a loved one or worries about your own health try to take our peace. Frustrations about relationships that are complicated try to take our peace. What someone said or didn't say, if they liked a post or didn't like it, whether they text you back or call you back, all of that tries to take our peace. Worrying about climate change, gender equity, the protection of trans and LGBTQIA folks, women's rights, the lack of much-needed gun reform in this country, all of this and more, climate change, worrying about this tries to take our peace. And I am here to tell you, beloveds, that every one of you has the strength within you to protect this much-needed peace. We must. We absolutely must. In order to get through the lives that we are living right now, we must protect this holy peace at the center of us, recognizing that it is immovable. Unlike all the things I just listed, and I'm sure there are many more that I didn't, your inner peace is immovable. It is there for us if we turn to it. It is peace with a capital P. It is ever giving, ever loving, ever calming, ever comforting, ever soothing, and all knowing, and it is here for us always. Because this peace is the peace of God, of Spirit. It never leaves us, but we leave it all the time. All the time. Think about all the things I just named. We forget daily, sometimes hourly, this holy peace at the center of our being, just waiting patiently and lovingly for us to turn towards it. Rumi wrote, "The center of your being is always there, waiting for you to return." The center of your being is always there, waiting for you to return. This is ancient wisdom. So there's a story from the Hindu scripture, the Bhagavad Gita, which is ancient and so deeply felt when it's read through this particular spiritual lens. And there's a section in the Gita that is called the Gita Dialogue. It's known as the Gita Dialogue because it is that important. And in the story, Arjuna is this young warrior prince, and he really is a skilled warrior, and this is emphasized many times in this ancient text. And he is on the battlefield of Kureshka, and he is overwhelmed with emotion. And God, or Brahman, has disguised themselves. Notice the gender equity there. Krishna disguises themselves. God disguises itself as the charioteer or the guide. And in the story, Arjuna does not know that Krishna is Brahman, is the divine. And Arjuna is just overwhelmed with emotion. Overwhelmed with emotion. When we are overwhelmed with emotion, it's very difficult for us to remember our peace at the center of our being, the peace that passeth all understanding. So, in the text, Arjuna says, "O Krishna, the system of yoga," and yoga back then meant a whole system of like meditation and mindfulness and self-mastery. He says, "O Krishna, the system of yoga, which you have summarized or taught, appears impractical and is unendurable for me. For the mind is restless and unsteady. It is turbulent and very strong. O Krishna," he continues, "to subdue it, I think, is more difficult than controlling the winds in the sky." Anyone? He's talking about his emotions of fear and sadness that he's feeling on that battlefield, as it were. And he's telling his guide that he can't control these emotions. He can't move forward because of them. And Krishna responds very simply. Krishna says, the mind is restless and difficult to restrain, but it is subdued by practice. The mind is restless and difficult to restrain, but it is subdued by practice. By practice. So the practice that Krishna is teaching Arjuna is the practice of letting the emotion flow through him so that he can see what is before him and act upon it. There's another story. Fast forward a couple centuries, many centuries, when Christianity comes on the planet. And there's Jesus on a boat with his disciples, and they are crossing the Sea of Galilee. Jesus is sound asleep, completely asleep, and his disciples, or students, another word for that, followers, students, start panicking about a storm, so much so that they wake him up, and they say, "Teacher, please calm this storm." And Jesus, the cool cat that he is, gets up without missing a beat. "Oh, ye of little faith," he says. He goes to the edge of the boat, and he rebukes. This is a key word that is used in all three Gospels, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, which this story is told in those three of the Gospels in the Christian Bible. He rebukes the storm and the winds. Another word for rebuke from the Greek simply means to command or proclaim. He proclaims calmness. He proclaims calmness, and all is at peace. Now understand, both of these stories, centuries and centuries and centuries apart, are teaching the very same thing. When Arjuna is on the battlefield, it's meant to be a metaphor. It's not an actual battlefield. It is the inner battlefield of his emotions. When Jesus calms the waters, the seas, it's not about Jesus settling the waves in the sea. It is about Jesus, the metaphor, teaching the disciples how to calm the turbulent inner storms that we all have. It's the same thing, centuries apart. And then fast forward several more centuries, a couple thousand years, new thought arrives on the planet. And we learn in metaphysics to meet ancient wisdom with neuroscience, with science. And in this, I've shared this before, but I learned something new about it. I'm so excited to share it with you. So Dr. Jill Bolte Taylor, incredible neuroscientist, we've used her books here in the past. She discovered the 90-second rule, that if you have a strong emotion, it will last in the body for 90 seconds. If you allow it to flow through you, as Krishna and Jesus taught, if you allow it to flow through you, the emotion will dissipate. If you don't allow it to flow through you, the emotion gets stuck. It gets stuck in your body temple. It can then become toxic. It can become this loop always. Now, I want to be very clear. I am not talking about when you have an emotion. I'm going to put this down because I've got the microphone, and you know I'm Italian in another life, but that's okay. I'm not referring to an emotion such as the shock of, let's say, finding out that a loved one has passed. That's different. I'm talking about the emotions that come up. You expected the promotion, and it didn't happen. You expected the person to call you back, and they didn't. Let's say you have a teenager, or a niece or a nephew that's a teenager, or a grandchild that's a teenager. You loaned them your car. And a couple days later, you're driving in the middle of nowhere, and you happen to glance down, and your gas tank is on empty. And there's that emotion of, I've got 20 more miles to go. talking about those kinds of things. None of my teenagers ever did that, by the way. Disclaimer. I'm certain I did that to my parents when I was a teenager, but so you understand the kind of emotions I'm talking about, the things that I named, that list that I named. So Dr. Jill Bolte Taylor brought to us several years ago this incredible wisdom that it's 90 seconds to let that flow through your body. Well, there is recent science from a woman by the name of Dr. Candace Pert. She is a neuroscientist who studies the molecules of emotions. And what she has discovered in her studies is that it's actually the first 4 to 7 seconds, and so they typically say 6 seconds, of an emotion that has just happened, which is the most crucial one. If you can catch that emotion in the first 6 seconds, you're far more likely to be able to consciously let it flow through your body so that you can return to peace. Yes, wow. I know. I was very wowed. Because here's the thing. And here's the tool I want to give you. So, for years, I've been doing something and I didn't realize what I was doing, and now I know. If you've been around me for any length of time, and I have an emotion that comes up, you will hear me often say, oh, my face feels hot. My hands feel sweaty. I'm shaking. I'm feeling this in my solar plexus. That's in the first 6 seconds. This is what I want to bring to you. This is why I've been doing this. And I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what it was called. But all I knew as I was doing this practice is that it helped me make the unconscious emotion, name it so that I can transcend it, right? And I want to give that to all of you because this is the 6-second rule. If you can notice when you have that initial rush of emotion, I have 20 more miles to go and I'm on empty, okay? If you can notice that in the first 6 seconds, and you notice it by what your body does, the body knows before the mind, this is that piece. If you can name, I'm feeling this, oh, I'm feeling this, my hands are shaking, my heart is pounding. Wow, I got a tightness in my throat or in my back. I'm feeling fear. I'm going to consciously let this flow through me by taking a deep Vipassana breath. Let's all do that together. It's a deep inhale through the nose to the very top, and then take another little at the top and exhale through your mouth. Make a sound all the way down to the bottom of your belly. If you can consciously breathe, so you name the body sensation, that leads to naming the emotion, that leads to taking the deep, nourishing breaths, which leads you to allow yourself to move that emotion, whatever it is, through your body so it does not get stuck there. Yes. Naming the bodily sensation helps to bring the unconscious conscious. Then you take a breath and then you move through this. It also helps to use an affirmation. Now, we've been doing affirmations forever. Ernest Holmes taught affirmations. We've been doing, and science now has proven that there's a scientific connection to why affirmations work. The affirmation I like to use is the calm of the divine is flowing through me now. On the breath, do it with me. The calm of the divine is flowing through me now. Let's say that again. The calm of the divine is flowing through me now. One more time. The calm of the divine is flowing through me now. Oh, I just feel so good. Tending to your emotions allows you to release them so that you can return to your holy, holy peace. Now, there's another important element to this. Your inner peace does not mean feeling good all the time. That's really important. We've had this interesting sort of societal message, I think from the sort of 60s peace movement, hey, peace man, that having inner peace meant you're just blissed out all the time. We've differentiated the two. There's inner bliss and there's inner peace. Your inner peace does not mean feeling good all the time. It means that it is available to you all the time. Big difference. You get to choose. We don't just magically arrive at peace. It doesn't work that way. Wouldn't it be nice? But it doesn't work that way. It takes, as the ancients taught us, Krishna, practice. Yes, practice. In meditation, for example, one of the spiritual practices that we teach here, we have our meditation retreat coming up. In March, there are some spots available. If you would like to join me in that, you can go online. In meditation, for example, we learn to allow whatever emotions or feelings that are coming up to come up. We acknowledge them. So if you are a newer meditator and you are sitting in the silence or even a guided meditation or a chant, whatever it may be, and you notice you are thinking, instead of getting caught up in all that, we just name thinking. If you have bodily sensations, I've got an itch on my knee, you acknowledge that. If you are thinking about your laundry list of to-dos, you can say, I'm futurizing right now. And then what happens is that part of your brain goes, wah, 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 and you go back to center, back to meditation, right? You acknowledge what comes up in real time, and like clockwork, it will dissipate. Once we acknowledge those awarenesses and the emotions that go with them, they go away. That's true in meditation, and that is true in life. In life. And if you, let's say, didn't get the promotion, let's use that example. You let that emotion flow through you of disappointment. I'm feeling this in my body temple. I'm feeling disappointment. Deep breaths. I allow the peace of the divine to flow through me now. And then at lunch with your friend, you sit down with them and you say, you are not going to believe what happened. I didn't get the promotion. That's okay. You get to process as long as you bring your awareness to it. We're not robots. I want to be very, very clear. If you need to talk it through with a trusted friend, you can do that. But as I always say, set a timer. Don't live there, because that robs you of your peace. You could even say to your friend, if they're a trusted friend, especially if they're in this community, you could say, will you breathe with me now that I've said what I needed to say? Would you just breathe with me and affirm with me? Oh, the peace of the divine flows through me now. And it dissipates it. And the more that you are able to do this as a daily practice, as a way of being, the easier it is going to be to return to center. Shelley and I do this all the time. All the time. Something comes up. Either she or I will say, hey, I just need to process something, and I'll say what it is, and then we'll breathe. And I'm fine. Do you see what I hope you're fine too. I'm fine. Yeah. Right? So the acknowledgement of the emotions is what protects your peace. That is what will get us through. Young Pueblo writes, peace does not mean only feeling good. It means that you are no longer at war with your emotions, that you can accept what is happening within you. Peace does not mean only feeling good. It means that you are no longer at war with your emotions, that you can accept what is happening within you. There was a short video that I saw this week that blew me away. Maybe some of you saw it, I don't know. Bless you. It was a video of a woman who had recently turned 90 years old. And she lost everything in the Eaton fire in Los Angeles. Everything was gone. And it was really clear as I was watching this video that she had processed her emotions. She allowed them to move through her because she was very clear and very calm in her wisdom at 90, saying, well, I'm going to have an opportunity to live in a different way, to really think about the things I want to buy. I'm going to really think about the food I put into my body. She was using that experience as a tool for her. I can tell you right now, if I lost everything, it would take me more than a week or 10 days to get to that place. She was an incredible teacher for me in that moment. I mean, I would be calling Shelley every day. Do you know? Or my bestie every day. So there is a way that we can process these emotions so that we can protect our holy peace. Because our holy peace is our birthright, and it's always available to us. We're going to be human. We're going to do all the things. We're going to spin out. We're going to do whatever. But if you can take anything away with you today, my invitation is that you remember that you can always return home. Home, capital H, home. So I've talked about the difference between inner bliss, the temporary recognitions of the divine in our lives and God moments, and that is so much fun when that happens. It is glorious, and it will happen more and more the more you are in this teaching, I promise you. We've talked about the difference between inner bliss and inner peace being that indwelling, immovable, eternal, holy part of us that sits and waits for us to simply turn towards it. I've talked about the ancient wisdom of both the Hindu and the Christian traditions that taught us the importance of the priority to practice calming that inner battlefield, letting the emotions flow through you, calming the inner storm, the waves that come up. And we do this by, as I shared, the neuroscience that we now know. I just love New Thought for this reason, because we get to meet ancient wisdom and science and the importance of those first 6 seconds, how crucial and critical those are. And then the following 90 seconds to take a deep breath and to affirm, the peace of the divine flows through me now. The calm of the divine flows through me now. The love of the divine flows through me now. The balance of the divine flows through me now. The abundance of the divine flows through me now. The health of the divine flows through me now. The grace of the divine flows through me now. The wholeness of the divine flows through me now. Use whatever word you choose and you need in that moment. We breathe on the terra firma of our immovable inner peace. We get to live from that place. And so this week, my friends, I invite you into these practices, especially this week, as things begin to really shift out in the world. The calm of the divine flows through me now. The justice of the divine flows through me now.